Okay. To continue on this idea of Liebe-Maus-Wagner, or traditional worldviews, my sister, teacher, friend, Gwen Bear, went out west, and at that time it was the Old Man River. There was a protest happening there, and while she was learning from grandmothers, the grandmothers sent back teachings for Gwen to take what they call medicine wheel teachings to identify it for our territory. That's why sometimes colors might be different. You'll see yellow on the east and red on the west, etc., and all of that. Well, what I'm about to show you is actually the visual that Gwen used to teach us, and how she did it was through 13 Moon teachings. So what we did, she only accepted 7, and the 7 had to be committed to change lifestyles, you know. So for me, it was giving up cigarettes first, you know. Then I remember having to give up my sangria, you know, and stuff, you know, which was a favorite of mine, because I lived in Tennessee, you know, out down south. Anyways, and I remember cigarettes was harder. And I remember having to cut up straws because I just needed to have something in my fingers, because I've had something in my fingers for so long. And people would say, well, why do you, and I would even put them in I used to have a nice beaded cigarette pack. And I didn't want to get rid of my cigarette pack, so I would put these broken up, you know, cut up straws in there, and I would take one out, and people would just, what do you do? And I said, I used to be a smoker, you know, but I still can do the things smokers do. It's just not hurting my body and stuff, you know what I mean? So anyway, so that's how we did it. So, so 7 of us committed, and for 13 months, we met and she taught. And so what I have here is kind of like a summary of what she, and I have, I meant to bring I've got hard copies too of that. And I think once Lee and I work this together, we can put this. So I just wanted to start with this. So this was taught by Elder Gwen Bear. So we do have colors specifically in each direction. So if you could just go to the next, yeah. So here's the whole thing, which I'm going to get to. I'm just going to take it apart little by little. But you'll notice on the very outside circle, the 4 families. And so the way that Gwen explained it was all of us are part of creation. And so before we were physically sent to a family, all of us were air, earth, fire, and water. We were all the elements together. And then we were shaped into physical form in the womb of our mothers and sent to a specific family. And so the first family, according to Gwen's teachings, you can go ahead and put the slide. So here, I can't see it, but that's okay. You guys can see it again. Is the elders teach of a time. The elders teach of a time when all of us were elements. And the first family to leave was the white family. They left with their element of, go ahead and do it again, yeah. They left with their element, so in the spirit world, the Creator chose 4 families. They can be, we don't like to say man, like sometimes people say 4 men, but we don't say that. We say 4 families or 4 clans or 4, you know, yeah, families is the best word and stuff, so rather than say man because it's so paternal. And we don't do that, because myself, for example, even though I'm physically female, I have to honor that I come from a dad and a granddad, and I have uncles and sons in my life. Therefore, I have to honor the male aspect of me too, not just the physical person that I am. And so, so the gift of fire was the responsibility of the white family, and Creator said, it's not your gift to keep, it's your gift to take care of, to share with the other families. Okay, next one. Yeah. So there's the white family and their gift. Go ahead. That's why I need Lee's help, so it'll come up better. You can hardly see that, yeah. Just go ahead and press it anyways. Yeah. All right, so the next family was the yellow family. The yellow family, the yellow family was gifted with the element of air. And again, not to own it, but to share it with the other families. If you notice, who do we go to when we want to learn how to have breathing exercises, yoga and taekwondo and all of those? It's the Asian families have taught us that air is an important element in making sure that, because we don't even breathe right. We're breathing from our lungs. We should be breathing, those deep breaths and stuff, and that's why we have so many anxiety, etc., and all that. So they were gifted with the gift of air. The next family to leave the physical world was the black family. Yeah. And so the black family, their element is water. And if you ever see, National Geographic, and you'll see aerial views of Africa, you may see water, but there's places you don't. There's a lot of desert, but they know how to find water underneath the desert. But we wouldn't, because we would look for taps, we would look for bottles, you know what I mean? We just wouldn't know and stuff, but they would, because of their territory. And so they're gifted with the gift of water. Then it comes to our family. We were the last ones to leave. And they always make jokes about Indian time. It's because of that spiritual, sacred time, This morning, as much as I wanted to be here before 9, something, like for one thing, I had to find something warm to wear because it was cold when I went outside. Yeah. And but there was also ceremony done and preparation and all of that, but it wasn't to disrespect you. It was to make sure that I was prepared enough to come here and stuff and not leave anything behind. So we were gifted. Our gift is earth, not to own it, as we talked about in the break, but to be stewards, to take care of the earth. And work from that. And that's why you see these medicines. These are all reminders of our responsibility, of how to take care of earth and stuff, okay? So all of these 4 families came, okay? So the red, okay, so what ended up happening is the gifts got abused. And so first contact, for example, would have been, they're saying, take me to your leader. And we would have taken them to a clan mother. And they would have said, no, where's the man? And stuff, because it's in their worldview that only men can be leaders or heads of. But they weren't used to ours. And that's how Saint Anne came to be our patron saint, because she was a grandmother of Jesus. And so that's how it was, they were able to blend in, that worldview as well. That's okay. I know you honor your grandmothers. We have a grandmother named Anne, and she's going to be your grandmother, because she's also the grandmother of Jesus. And so that's how that idea actually came. So what ended up happening is the male and female realms got divided because of that contact, because there's a gender break. For us, we would have stayed in that circle all the time. But when that came, then the women were demoted. The clan mothers were demoted. And so the men then became the leaders. And so they were in that realm of politics, right? So they were the ones making decisions for their communities now without the help of the clan mothers like they used to have. Not only that, the economical aspect of it, when they used to do hunting, for example, they used to trap in a sacred way, but things came and affected it differently. Guns were brought, etc. So now guns are used against people. It used to be just for animals, for survival. Now it's human-to-human contact, etc. So that became the male realm after contact. The next slide, yeah. This became the female realm. So women then were responsible for taking care of their babies and taking care of the community life. And so there was a split that happened. There were gender roles, that this is for males and this is for females. So right off the bat, things start to get unbalanced, right? Because you're not in that full circle again. You want to go to the next one? No. So this is just how I'm breaking it down. Is the red family their element is earth. the season is spring, and meaning that 4 directions. So that 4 directions on that medicine wheel, it has what they mean. So the element is spring. So once you have the colors, you have the red in the east, and it symbolizes the element earth, symbolizes the season of spring, symbolizes the birth stage of life, you know, cultural realm and identity, because when you're born, however you're greeted in the language you're greeted in is the culture you're going to belong to. And that's why it's important for me now to make sure those babies in the womb are hearing their language. So I'm trying to be there, you know, and stuff, and teach moms and dads and grandmothers to make sure that they're responsible for talking to the baby in their first language and stuff, or other languages. And of course, spiritual strength, because we wouldn't have had a baby shower. It was responsibility of every child that was born. The whole community was, well, I have an extra crib. Oh, I have this I didn't get to use. Oh, I have these moccasins. So it was, the baby belonged to everybody, you know, and stuff. So, but we don't do that now. It's your invitation only. You know what I mean? You get an invite to come to a shower, and a gift is expected. And so money is expected to be spent. And so it's not that way for us. It's what can we do for that baby? Let's take that baby for, rock the baby to sleep so the mom can take a rest, you know. Those are all different responsibilities and stuff. Or I'll do your laundry for you today. Or listen, I baked an extra casserole because I know you're too busy with the new baby. And, you know, so those are the kind of things that we used to do, and we need to bring back, so that these moms don't have, you know, what I'm seeing a lot of is, I forget the medical term, depression. It's a depression after